If you didn't get the chance to watch my recent video, the thing I was chasing was there all along. I made this declaration: don't love the hobby more than the music. And I know what you're thinking. That declaration leads to another question. Now what? If that's true, how should I actually evaluate my system? And with a warm welcome back to New Record Day, that's exactly what we're going to find out. Welcome back to New Record Day. My name is Ron, and if you consider yourself an audiophile or a music enthusiast, welcome home. In today's video, we're going to peel back another layer of the audiophile onion. Because if the goal isn't simply buying better equipment and more stuff, then how do you know when your system is actually better? And no, this isn't going to be another video about buying different speakers, a different DAC, a different amplifier, or magic moon rocks for isolation. The purpose of this video is learning how to listen in a way that brings you closer to the music you already love. Now, don't get me wrong. After everything we talk about today, you might discover there's something in your system that really does need to change, but I can promise you this. When this video is over, you'll have a completely different set of tools to help you understand what's actually wrong and what isn't. Stop listening like a reviewer. Now, this might sound a little bit strange coming from me. After all, reviewing is literally what I do, and I bring you guys along for the ride. But over the years, I've realized there's a huge difference between listening and evaluating. When I'm reviewing a loudspeaker, my brain is constantly asking questions. How's the imaging? How's the bass? Is the treble smoother than the last speaker? How's the decay structure? Is the soundstage wider? And yes, those are all great questions if you are trying to compare something. But what about the rest of us who aren't comparing anything? We're just simply trying to enjoy the system that we have. So let's get practical. Let's roll up our sleeves. Here's something that I want you to try the next time that you sit down to listen. The first thing that we need to do is unlearn what we've taught ourselves to listen for. Now, I know that sounds a little vague, so let me explain. I'd be willing to bet dollars to donuts that most audiophiles press play, sit down, and within the first few moments, they are already evaluating. How's the tonal balance? How's the bass definition? How's the decay? How's the detail? Does this sound better than my last speaker? And look, there's certainly a time and a place for those questions, but they also lead us down a very familiar road. One where we become increasingly aware of what's missing instead of what's already there. And if we're not careful, that road usually ends with less money and more gear we probably didn't need to begin with. So here's the experiment. The next time that you sit down to listen, don't think about frequency response. Don't think about detail. Don't think about tonal balance. Instead, ask yourself one simple question. Where is everything? Where's the singer? Where's the piano? Where's the snare drum? Can you point to the bass player? Can you hear the room they're playing in? Notice what just happened? Your attention shifted. You're no longer judging the sound, you're stepping inside the performance. The location of things pulls your focus into the music instead of the equipment. Understanding the stage. All right, folks, now that we're asking a better question, where is everything? We also need to understand something about the stage itself. Remember when I mentioned facts entering the room? Well, here's another one, and this one is a doozy. Soundstage is absolutely a real thing, but in the same breath, it can also fool you. And if you don't understand why, you might end up judging your system for something that isn't your system's fault. Here's what I mean. Not every one of our favorite records is designed to create a believable stage to begin with. In fact, many of our favorite records that we know and love were never intended to place every musician in a perfectly organized space between your speakers. Sometimes the drummer feels like he's everywhere. Sometimes the guitar seems disconnected from everything else. Sometimes you might even feel like you're sitting behind the drum kit instead of in front of the band. None of that necessarily means your system is doing something wrong. It's simply a reflection of how that particular album was created. Now, for a deep dive covering this very topic, I already made a video a while back that walks through this very thing for those who are interested. In any event, here is another exercise. I want you to find 2 or 3 recordings that are known for creating a believable stage. Google or your favorite flavor of AI can dig this up for you in a matter of seconds. But what we need is a piece of music where you can close your eyes and literally point to the exact location of the singer, the piano, the drummer, the bass player. Now, going back to that first exercise from chapter 1, close your eyes and ask yourself, where is everything? Now, some of you just did that exercise and some of you might do it later, and you're probably thinking one of 2 things. Either, wow, I never noticed that before, or, Ron, I still can't point to anybody. And if you're in that second group, good, because this might be the biggest free upgrade you will ever make to your system. Years ago, I made a video called LOTS, Loudspeaker Optimization Techniques for Soundstage. At the time, I thought I was teaching speaker placement. Looking back, I don't think that's really what was going on. I was teaching people how to give music room to breathe. You see, most of us crack open the manual that came with our speakers, and when the manufacturer suggests placing the speakers 1 or 2 feet off the wall, we accept this as a rule, when the reality is, it's only a suggestion. So, we play it safe, and look, I get it. And without even realizing it, we just squeezed that entire performance into a smaller space than it was ever meant to occupy. So, here's what I want you to do. The next time that you have a little bit of free time, check out LOTS. Grab yourself a tape measure and some painter's tape and give it a go. Sit down, play the same song, and ask yourself, where is everything? Because something incredible starts to happen when a system begins to disappear. The musicians stop feeling trapped between 2 boxes, and they start feeling like they're occupying real space. The stage opens. The performance becomes believable. And when that happens, you're no longer trying to imagine where everyone is. You simply know. That is what LOTS has always been about. Not moving speakers, removing barriers. Giving the music enough room to become believable. And there we have it, folks. If you watched both of these videos, you probably already know where I'm going with this. I don't think this hobby is really about speakers or amplifiers or DACs or cables. I think it's about people. The people who write these songs, the people who performed these songs, the people sitting beside us when we are listening to these songs, and maybe the person we're becoming because we slowed down long enough to truly hear them. So, the next time you sit down in front of your system, don't ask, how does it sound? Ask, where is everything? If you can answer that, you're no longer listening to hi-fi. You're witnessing a performance. And somewhere along the way, even without realizing it, the greatest upgrade that has ever happened wasn't to your system, it was to you. And with that, I'll see you LOTS-loving audiophiles in the next video.